This is my presentation on Bhutan, and I'm going to focus on aspects of Bhutan which are relevant to the A-level geography topics. Firstly, just a little bit of setting the scene for Bhutan with general facts about the country. So Bhutan is located between India and China in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region to the east of Nepal. It is a landlocked country with an area of around 38,400 kilometers square, which is less than Switzerland if you just put it into perspective. It has a very small population of just 755,000, and the entire economy of Bhutan is worth just $2 billion, compared to the UK, which is worth $2.8 trillion. Their GNI is $8,609 per capita, and with a life expectancy of 71.5 years, they have an HDI score of 0.617, which means that they are 134th out of 189 countries. On the map there, you can see the shaded in red is Bhutan, obviously China to the north, India to the south, and Nepal to the west. So all development in Bhutan is driven by gross national happiness. This is a measure used in Bhutan and now officially recognised by the UN that includes factors such as health, time use, cultural diversity and resilience, and living standards. Bhutan provides free primary education and healthcare. They have a stable democracy, which was imposed on them by the fourth king of Bhutan. There's a mandatory dress code in Bhutan, where men wear knee-length garments and women wear ankle-length garments. The colour of the clothes reflects your social class and status. They have 2.2% unemployment, which is almost half of the unemployment in the UK. Given this is a very rural country, almost 60% of employment is in the agricultural sector. So Bhutan has a net migration of 0.4 per 1,000 people. This means that more people are coming into the country than leaving the country. A large proportion of Bhutanese migrate to India to work. Strong diplomatic relations with India make this movement easier for Bhutanese, as Bhutanese can travel to India with their international ID only. Furthermore, they can go to work in India with no restrictions. Bhutan is a Buddhist country. However, this has meant that other smaller ethnic minorities are believed to have been discriminated against. The Lhotshampa ethnic group migrated from Nepal into southern Bhutan in the 18th century, maintaining their Nepali language, culture, and religion, which is Hindu. The Bhutan government has been accused of human rights violations against the Lhotshampas, and the United States accepted 30,870 refugees between 2008 and 2010. Since the 1990s, over 100,000 Lhotshampas have fled Bhutan, making it the country with the largest number of refugees per capita. Bhutan has a king and a government. The fourth king of Bhutan, who retired in 2006, imposed democracy on the country, allowing everyone in Bhutan to have an equal vote for the government. He wrote a constitution which gave the people of Bhutan the power to impeach the king at any stage. It also requires the king to retire at the age of 65. He famously said in the 1970s that gross national happiness is more important than gross domestic product. He defines GNH as development with values. With good governance and a holistic approach, Bhutan has been able to develop but keep GNH as its primary focus. Bhutan for Life is a funding mechanism set up by the fourth king to look after and protect the past of Bhutan, including its national parks. The idea is to raise funds from donors, corporations, and institutions. The World Wildlife Fund are currently their main partners. Bhutan is in control of many mountain passes between India and China, who have had conflicts in the past. They have strong diplomatic relations with China, but they're still negotiating they have strong diplomatic relations with India, but they're still negotiating China on mountain borders. In 2005, Chinese soldiers began building roads and bridges to give better access to the disputed land without Bhutan's permission. Obviously, with Bhutan being located in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, it has a huge number of active glaciers and a vast glaciated landscape. The Hindu Kush Himalayan region is the third largest ice repository on the planet after the North and South Poles. Bhutan itself contains 677 glaciers and 2,674 glacial lakes. The glacial ice covers a vast area of 1,317 square kilometers. Given that these glaciers are located in the Himalayas, it's no surprise that over 500 of them are either mountain or valley glaciers. Other types of glacier found in Bhutan are niche glaciers, cirque glaciers, and ice cap glaciers. Niche glaciers are ones found in small gullies on north-facing slopes in the northern hemisphere. A cirque glacier is when ice collects in a corrie before moving over the corrie lip into the main valley. With the threat of global warming and the melting of the Himalayan glaciers, over 240 million people are at risk from glacial lake outburst floods in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. This is when the amount of meltwater in a glacial lake exceeds its capacity, causing devastating floods. Despite being at a relatively high altitude, Bhutan has 72% of its land area covered by forests. This means that it has a huge carbon sink. As a country, Bhutan generates about 2.2 million tons of CO2 a year. However, the forests sequestrate over 3 times that amount. This makes Bhutan a net carbon sink of over 4 million tons of CO2 a year. In order to conserve the national parks, over half of the country is protected area, and each of the protected areas is connected by a biological corridor, as seen on the right, where the dark green areas are the biological corridors, and the lighter green areas are the protected areas. These protected areas prevent any poaching, hunting, or mining. The government helps remote communities by providing free electricity as well as managing the forests in which they live. As a country, Bhutan receives over 3,000 millimeters of rain a year, which is similar to the Amazon rainforest. Most of this rain comes between May and September, where they have up to 30 days a month of precipitation. Given that part of the country is in the glaciated Himalayas, as seen before, where there are 667 active glaciers and 2,674 glacial lakes, these serve as huge stores of water. The glacial ice has an estimated volume of 127 cubic kilometers. This is just a climate graph of Bhutan. As you can see, on the y-axis, we have temperature. On the x-axis, we have the months of the year. And on the z-axis, we have precipitation, which is measured in days per month. So the actual graph itself is split up into the day and night temperature with the 2 lines. Obviously, daytime orange and nighttime the dark blue. And then the bar graph is also split up into rain and snow. So as you can see, as I said before, the most rainy months are June, July, August, and September. With the Himalayas in the north of the country, Bhutan sits right on top of the Indian-Eurasian plate boundary. This is a convergent plate boundary with 2 continental plates. This means that it forms a collision boundary, resulting in orogeny, which is mountain building, producing the Himalayas. With the Indian plate still moving north at about 5 centimeters per year, it is still a very active boundary. In the past year, Bhutan has had 14 earthquakes, with the largest being 5.9 on the moment magnitude scale. In 2009, Bhutan had a 6.1 magnitude earthquake, which killed 7 people. With the country being such a mountainous region, it is vulnerable to landslides and avalanches. Bhutan is expecting a big earthquake in the future. However, the infrastructure of the country is inadequate to withstand a major earthquake.